Ryuko Matoi is the main protagonist of the anime and manga Kill la Kill. Her story begins when she moves to Hanuji Academy as an exchange student in search of her father's killer. Upon arrival, she discovers that the school is led by the student committee, with Satsuki Kiryuin at its head as its president and highest authority. Ryuko soon suspects that Satsuki may be involved in her father's murder, and rivalry arises between them. Ryuko is a slender 17-year-old girl with a prominent bust, a flat abdomen and wide hips. Her hair is short and tousled, a dark grayish shade with a red-tinged lock in her bangs. She has blue eyes and her pupils are gear-shaped. He is often bullied by peers and adults when he dresses senketsu. Before wearing senketsu for the first time, Ryuko used to wear her school uniform, consisting of a white blouse with a red bow at the neck, a pleated navy blue skirt, white sneakers, and a black and white striped sports jacket. In addition, she carried with her a guitar case where she hid her part of the scissor sword. Ryuko begins using senketsu regularly after their first meeting. In her inactive form, senketsu resembles a regular sailor uniform, albeit shorter. When transformed, senketsu changes her form and partially covers Ryuko's upper torso with armor that runs from her neck to mid-chest. The lower part of the costume is more lingerie-like. Straps connect the chest armor to the skirt of the outfit, which is now much smaller and only covers part of the hips. In addition, the kamui wears long-heeled boots that are attached to the undergarment with a garter belt, and long gloves that completely cover Ryuko's arms. During her first confrontation with Nui Harime, Ryuko is absorbed by senketsu and takes on a monstrous form, with blue and green skin tones. At the waist, she has a huge mouth with sharp teeth, and her senketsu eyes acquire a large size between her chest and head. His left arm increases considerably in size and appears to be encased in a block, while his right arm maintains its usual shape and holds his half of the scissors sword. In addition, his appearance is dyed red due to the amount of blood he spills. After her confrontation with Ragio Kiryuin, Ryuko refuses to dress senketsu and wears a cloak that covers her entire body from head to toe, similar to the one she wore the first time she dressed senketsu due to the embarrassment of wearing little clothing. On one occasion, she dressed junketsu, sporting a white and blue armor covering her chest, waist, and legs. Eventually, Ryuko redressed senketsu and, absorbing all the Goku uniforms and junketsu, managed to develop a more advanced transformation, where her hair temporarily turns blonde and her costume changes to red and yellow. Ryuko's main characteristic is her stubborn and temperamental character. It is easy for Ryuko to be swayed by her own emotions and perform actions based entirely on anger and desire for revenge, even losing control of her body as she is overpowered by both divine garments. Though Ryuko can be easily irritated and driven out of temper, she has managed to learn from her mistakes and acquire better self-control. Although sometimes proud and self-confident, Ryuko has shown a great sense of heroism, altruism, and kindness to those she cares about. She is often undaunted and can be considered brash and fearless, as evidenced when she directly and disrespectfully addresses the members of the student committee, or when she confronts Takaharu Fukuroda, despite the great disparity in power between them. Ryuko shows great determination in uncovering her father's murderer. Her bravery goes so far as to free herself from Ragio's mind control by simply punching herself. After being brainwashed and forced to use junketsu, her personality becomes wild and violent, destroying everything in her path for no apparent reason. After being released, she regains her personality, but somehow becomes more serene and mature. She also reconciles with Satsuki and can even fight alongside her as allies, although she still has difficulty recognizing her as her sister. However, when Satsuki catches her while falling back to Earth, Ryuko calls her sister. She is also a serious and cheerful girl, and although she smiles at funny moments, she tends to get angry easily. She detests perverted men and is embarrassed to be seen scantily clad. After understanding what it means to wear senketsu, she overcomes her embarrassment to adopt the true form of her divine garment and use its full potential in combat. She usually keeps her cool, but when she encounters her father's assassin, she loses her temper and control over herself. At first, she is seen eating a lemon, which gives her an appearance of toughness. Ryuko is willing to do anything to achieve her goal, such as confronting the entire Hanuji Academy just to get details about her father's death. Initially, she preferred to be alone and reject a company, but thanks to Meiko Menkenshoku, she begins to enjoy the company, especially the lively dinners with the Menkenshoku family, so much so that when the social status of this family increases and the lively dinners end, Ryuko becomes becomes saddened and begins to feel lonely. She was also embarrassed to call her sister Nei-san, although she eventually does so without a problem. At first, Ryuko was not very fond of shopping, but later she begins to do it with Mako and enjoys it. At the moment of her birth, she was taken to the laboratory, where by order of her mother Ryuko Matoi, she underwent compatibility experiments with combat live fibers, inserting them inside her body and fusing them with her organs so that they would become part of her. Although the experiment was successful, not producing exactly the desired results, Ryuko decided to discard the newborn. However, her father Soichiro Kiryuin prevented her from dying and, after faking her death in a car accident, she assumed a new identity as Isshin Matoi. Even so, Isshin informed his daughter that her mother had died in childbirth, and sent her to a boarding school, where she was confrontational and lived a solitary and isolated life. At the age of 17, Ryuko left the orphanage in search of her father, but upon arriving home, she found him lying on the floor covered in blood, with half of a huge pair of scissors stuck in his stomach. She ran to his aid, but it was too late. In spite of this, she managed to hear his last words, in which he asked her to take half of the scissors lying on his body, assuring her that this way she would find the person responsible for his death. As her father continued speaking, Ryuko noticed a figure in the doorway holding the other half of the scissors. Ignoring her father's warnings urging her to stop, Ryuko chased after the figure, which transformed into the shadow of a person and moved away into the trees of the garden. Tragically, just after Ryuko left the house, it caught fire, consuming her father and everything inside. Due to synchronization with combat live fibers, Ryuko possesses impressive speed, considerable strength, remarkable agility and, above all, a rapid regeneration ability, which improves over time. Great combat live fiber assimilation, Ryuko, along with Senketsu, is able to absorb combat live fibers from Goku uniforms, divine garments and even original live fibers without suffering negative consequences, including her abilities such as full submission. Connection with Senketsu. Thanks to Ryuko's DNA present in Senketsu, she can use him with exceptional compatibility, without experiencing any rejection by the divine garment. In addition, she possesses a mental connection with him, as even before she could communicate freely, Ryuko could already hear his voice. Weapon mastery. Ryuko demonstrates outstanding skill in employing half of the scissor sword and the blade razor, performing acrobatics with them and competently facing off against swordsmen such as Yuzu Sanajima. Scissor sword shape manipulation. Ryuko has the ability to modify the shape of both halves of the scissors sword at will, being able to shrink or enlarge them depending on the situation. Uniforms and weaponry. Kamui Senketsu, human print fusion. Ryuko achieves total synchronization with Senketsu due to the presence of her DNA in the garment's fabric. From the beginning, Ryuko has a mental connection with the garment, although she initially fails to reach her full potential due to embarrassment. Eventually, together with Senketsu, they managed to master 3 transformations, Senketsu Shippu, Senketsu Senjin, and a combination of both. Kamui Junketsu, human print fusion. When Ryuko Kiryuin controls Ryuko's mind, she is forced to dress Junketsu, fusing her internal fibers with those of the garment. Although both possess great power, with the help of Senketsu, Mako, and Satsuki, Ryuko manages to free herself from Junketsu and return to normal. Scissor sword. Ryuko's deceased father gives her half of the scissor sword so that she can find her killer. Ryuko carried this scissors constantly, claiming that she would never let go of it. Eventually, Ryuko gets the other half of the scissor sword and manages to unlock its true potential. Blade glove. When the scissor sword is lost in space, Ryuko uses the nudist beach blade glove, with which she shows enough skill to take on the specter of Satsuki Kiryuin. I hope you liked the video. If you want me to bring a video about your waifu, comment it. Don't forget to check the videos of the channel. See you in the next video.